So I will just recap in a very fast forward mode. So what are the challenges? These are the challenges. Challenge number one was new diseases. The challenge number two was the arduous and expensive that is a cost of drugs. In challenge number three, it was the value of death, where we have seen the maximum of the drugs are actually get failed in these areas. In challenge number four, we have seen the clinical trial flops. These are the various drugs name. In challenge number, it was supposed to be number five. I've done some mistake. So okay, it's okay. So another challenge was low success rate. And then we have also seen the toxicity is a big major challenge. Then we also have seen the drug recall. Many of the drugs will be get recall. Okay, you will be spending huge amount of money, time, and massive your deployment of the workforce, but still the drug might be showing some side effect or adverse reaction or any kind of problem to the certain group of people. So that's why you're supposed to get recall because of the advice of pharmacovigilance. Then we have also seen that environmental effect, how a drug can excrete out from your body, and then when it will go to the environment, how it will create a negative impact on the environment if any that is a drug protein reaction is happening within the sea or any of the marine that is a marine the biodiversity. We also seen that there are lots of news reports where it is saying that the amount of the traces of pharmaceuticals are actually above than the normal level. And in future, you will be see lots of new problems in upcoming days after the COVID, the recession, then the climate change and biodiversity. It is like a tsunami, what we are going to face. I also told you that what is the solution? The solution is AI and machine learning. So artificial intelligence, machine learning, this can be a solution. We can solve this problem by using these modern technologies. So to tell you in detail, I will take some basic understanding of AI, machine learning, and deep learning, including artificial neural network. So all of you might be nowadays listening that driverless car and that is credit card fraud detection, including in Facebook, in your social media. You might be observing the ads are actually appearing. Whatever the things you are searching in your Amazon, Flipkart, and other various business platforms. So all the things are actually after some time it is appearing on your news feeds. And so you might be aware about this thing. So to tell you in more, what is actually machine learning? Okay, I have three various very important definitions that I have collected from top some that is a top of the some websites or the books where they have written very nicely about machine learning. So you should not confuse. This is very simple, and I will tell you in a very simple manner. So what is machine learning? So the use and development of computer system that are able to learn and adapt. Follow this word, learn and adapt. Computer system that may able to learn and adapt without following explicit instruction by using algorithm, statistical models to analyze and draw interference from pattern in data. So many of you might be confused. Sir, it is very difficult definition. So I will make it very simple. Basically, machine learning. You have a kid, you are teaching, your kid is learning about A, B, C, D. है ना? Similarly, you have a machine, you are teaching the machine that this is A, this is B, this is C, this is D. Okay, you're actually teaching the machine. So how? So this is the process, the use and development of computer system, okay, that are able to learn and adapt, okay, without explicit instruction by using algorithm and statistical models. Okay, you are developing some algorithm and software. Statistical models, some statistical models. You just think as a number. Okay, so they are in this process. We are using some algorithm and some statistical models so that our computer, our that system, it may able to learn and adapt. Okay, and draw interference between pattern in the data. So this is a simple definition. I have a very amazing another definition. Machine learning is a science of getting computers to learn and act like human do. I think after listening this definition, you'll be so much happy. Okay, because here I have told in a very that is a direct manner that computer can learn and act like human do. and improve their learning over the autonomous function by feeding them data and information in the form of observation and real world interaction. Okay, so what we are giving, we're actually feeding the data and information, and we are actually making the algorithm so that it can learn, it can adapt, and it can like do the way human we are actually working. हमारे पास मशीन है, वो ह्यूमन जैसे काम करेगा. कैसे? To do वो काम करने के लिए you are giving the machine the data and information, and you have some algorithm. Okay, so I have another definition. This is a very simple definition. Machine learning is the application of artificial intelligence that provides system the ability to automatically learn and improve from experience without being explicitly programmed. Okay, so here the word is coming, artificial intelligence. See, artificial intelligence is a very vast and it's a very big field. Okay, machine learning is a part of artificial intelligence. I will tell you more. Now, as of now, you may just try to understand that in this arena, we are actually focusing on machine learning. But yes, we are also using artificial intelligence. There is a big relation. I will tell you more. So as of now, from this slide, you just try to understand that we are actually educating, or we are actually making capable our machine, that is a computer, so that it can act like human, so that it can act like human. How we are doing this? We're actually feeding them information, data and information. Data is anything. Excel sheet हो सकते हैं. It might be A is equal to B, B is equal to C is equal to D, C is equal to 1, anything. Okay, some data we're going to provide. And here we are also developing some algorithm and statistical models. So very interesting things you're going to learn in my upcoming slide. So before going to directly to machine learning, let me take to you about artificial intelligence. Okay, so after understanding this thing, you will be able to very easily recognize that what are the differences between AI, ML, DL, and ANN. AI means artificial intelligence, ML means machine learning, DL means deep learning, and ANN means artificial neural network. Okay, so in YouTube you will be getting huge amounts of videos, but after watching those videos, your concepts will be not so much clear, because many of the videos are actually made in early 2016-17, and later on the whatever the videos that are right now on YouTube, the mistakes whatever the earlier people did in 2016 and 2015, same mistake the newer people are also doing. So in this slide, your concepts will be very much clear. So let me start with artificial intelligence. This is the broad term you have to understand. This is the ultimately the tree under which machine learning is actually rising. Okay, so what are the subsets, or what are the fields under the artificial intelligence? One of the field is robotics. So you might be aware about one of the movie of Rajini Kant. है ना? I think the movie name was Robot. You have seen in that movie, Robot is actually conquering the world. Vasikaran, that scientist, is getting troubled. है ना? So robotics is a part of artificial intelligence. So there are chances robotics might be using machine learning. Robotics might be completely not using machine learning. It might be automated process or any other process. Then computer vision. You might be seeing, I think in Gurgaon, they have installed some that is a camera. Okay, so it will automatically detect, recognize if anybody is not following the traffic rule, and automatically one message will be go to that person. You are not following the traffic rule, so you have to you are penalized for certain amount of money. So this is actually computer vision. Okay, then speech recognition. You might be talking with your Alexa, you might be talking with your OK Google, you might be talking with your Cortana, and other various that is platform, or Siri. Those are using Apple. You might be talking with your Siri. So Siri is actually able to recognize that yes, it is you. Okay, when you just speak OK Google with your mobile, automatically one prompt actually coming to your mobile, you are searching that search NIET Pharmacy Institute, automatically Google is searching. So Google, that is OK Google, it is actually recognizing your speech. Okay, so this is also a subset of your artificial intelligence. Then natural language processing. You might have seen that chatbot. Many of the sites, for example, Aragya Setu app, they have used that technology. In RxSetu app, there is a segment where you can write, you can mention your whether you have any cough or any kind of symptoms or not. And it is so much similar like your WhatsApp chat. Can you seen this? Have you seen that thing? If you have used RxSetu, automatically you can chat. Okay, automatically it will reply. So this is actually coming under artificial intelligence and which is actually called natural language processing. Now, the main interesting part is lying here, machine learning. Machine learning is actually a subset of AI where we are actually feeding the data to the machine. Okay. In other areas, robotics, computer vision, speech recognition, here we are also feeding the data, but here the activity is more. And in our drug discovery, why I'm focusing on machine learning, because in our drug discovery, this thing can be a game changer, or already it is a game changer, but not your other things. That the other actually I have listed only 5 different subsets. There are other subsets are also in artificial intelligence. Okay, so is it clear to you students? You may just unmute and tell me, or if you have any doubts, you can feel free to ask me. बच्चों लोग समझ में आ रहे हैं?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so great. So now come to focus zoom in our machine learning. So what is machine learning? Already I have told you, this is an application of artificial intelligence that provides the systems the ability to automatically learn and improve from experience without being explicitly programmed. Okay, already we have seen the definition. We're actually filling the data. Now you can see how actually machine learning is working. For example, credit card fraud detection. If somebody has stolen your credit card data, your that is 16-digit number with CVV and your the other things like your validity date, etc., etc. If somebody may stolen, then still that thing can be still the business side that can detect that yes, it is a fraud or it is a correct. So how they actually do this thing? So they actually classify or they actually take huge amount of data where one is the real and another is false. One is that is a real transaction. Another transaction is done by some thief. Okay, so or some bad people who is actually stolen your credit card and he has used doing some he has done some fraud. So your behavior pattern. Okay, you might be using your credit card for your Amazon, Flipkart, and other things. Okay, so you might be using. Now, suddenly a sudden transaction was happened, which was not completely related to your previous work. So that thing can be analyzed. So based on that data, based on the real data and the thief that is a fraud data, you have or you will be collecting huge records. Already algorithms are developed. I'm just telling that how it is working. Okay, so what actually in this process it is working? You have use records with certain few features, and you will divide the data into two parts: testing data, testing set, and training set. You will train your machine with random forest classifier. Random forest is a classifier. It will make one model. Okay, it will make one model, and then the remaining thing you will just put it here. You will check. For example, you have a card. This is the real card, a real transaction. So if you may put it in the test, when you test it, it will click it right. Yes, this is a real. And you have some another data. This is the wrong or false or which data is actually associated with the fraud detection or fraud activity. So that data, when we will feed it here, it will give the answer. No, this is a fraud or fraud related transaction. Okay, so ultimately, in nutshell, if you are listening this thing for the first time, for nutshell, I will just try to tell you. You will collect huge amount of data. You will divide the data in two parts: training set and testing set. In training set, you will add the features in levels. You will use random forest classifier, and then you will develop one model. Now the testing set you will again test. Ki, whatever the training set develop the model, this is correct or not. If it is predicting correct, then your model is perfect. Then you can use it. Okay, so you can. This is how you can use. This is a simple process, a simple that is introduction about the how you can how machine learning models are actually developed. I will tell you more in my upcoming slides. So another thing, deep learning is actually associated with your machine learning. Deep learning, very common word. So what is deep learning? So deep learning was also a machine learning technique that teaches computer to do what comes naturally to human. That is learning by example. Okay, in this that is earlier case, what we have seen, we are giving also some examples. Now in this process, you are giving so much of data. ओके यू आर गिविंग सो मच ऑफ एग्जांपल्स है ना तुम्हारी जो पेरेंट्स है जब तुम मान लो एग्जाम में अच्छा मार्क्स लेके नहीं आते हो क्या कहते हैं तुम्हारे पेरेंट्स कि जो है शर्मा जी की बेटे को देखो वर्मा जी के बेटे को देखो गिविंग एग्जांपल्स राइट सो दैट यू कैन लर्न यू कैन सी I don't know anybody here is who is Sharma ji ka beta or and I'm just giving some examples. So here we're also using the similar methodology. Okay, so now you can see self-driving car. Self-driving car. In future, you will see car whatever is running in our roads. Maximum of the cars will be self-driving car. You will be able to read your book or your other things. You can play games in your car. Okay, because whatever the accidents are happening in our world, this is only because of the mistakes of the driver. Okay, so we human, we usually very easily we do mistakes. You are not well, you are mentally not fit, you are under depression, you are having anxiety. So when you will drive the car, there are chances you might be doing some mistakes. You are tired, you have taken alcohol, definitely there will be some problem. So for those people, or especially in those cases, the self-driving car will be a best solution. Okay, already Tesla and your other organizations in US, they're already has developed this kind of this self-driving car. So in future, it will be very much common. Okay, so this is actually working based on the reward system. I will tell you more in my upcoming slide. So here you are actually training the car. Okay, you are actually training the car. In car there will be lots of sensors. The sensor will detect the distance, the speed, everything. GPS it will be connected. Everything will be automatically organized based on it will work based on the algorithm. Okay, so what next? Another thing I'd like to tell you. So what are the differences? In machine learning, we are actually that is extracting some feature. What are the input I am giving? Na? In my slide, I have shown you. Yeah, here you can see. Here you can see the features and level. Okay, when we have divided to test set and training sets, we are actually first we have taken that is 28,000. Oh, sorry, 2,84,807 records with various features. Features could be anything. Okay, it might be male, female, whatever the features. And we have huge amount of features. So we also label that thing. Okay, in this case, in machine learning case, we have extracted the feature. Then it was classified based on the random forest. Random forest is a classifier on algorithm. I'll tell you more. So then it was given the output. Now in deep learning, you have to no need to extract the features. It will automatically that is a deep learning deep learning learn hierarchical representation from data itself. Okay, scales and with a more data. You might have listened that Aadhaar data got leaked. और आधार डेटा that is in Supreme Court there was case ना कि जो है government should protect the Aadhaar card data because if any terrorist organization they get the Aadhaar card data of all the Indians, then they will be able to create a very that is a common problem in our country. कैसे? How? Because you have the data of entire population. You can classify the people based on their age, based on their gender, based on their ethnic that is their language, ethnicity, and etc. You will be able to identify where the gray areas are. How can you create a problem among the people? In our India, you know that the caste system is a very severe problem. So if the data is going to the terrorist organization or those are anti-Indian elements, they will be created a great problem. Okay, by using deep learning. Okay, so that's why in deep learning you have no need to extract the features data that neural network. It will automatically extract the data. Okay, so another thing I could tell you to work with deep learning, you need the neural network. Okay, you can see these are some artificial neuron. Okay, you might be observing this thing for the first time. So in our brain, how our brain is actually functioning, हमारा दिमाग कैसे काम करते हैं? In our brain, we have lots of neurons. तुम्हारे दिमाग में जितने ज्यादा न्यूरॉन होगा, दिमाग उतना अच्छे से काम करेगा. If your brain having a lots of neuron, your brain will work so nicely. Okay, with passing of age, number of neurons actually getting reduced. That's why all these people always face some problem. So we are actually creating here the artificial neuron. Okay, there are lots of stories. I'm not gonna go into the detail. I'm just trying to tell you the basics so that in future, if you may listen any of the lecture of AI, ML, DL, or ANN, your knowledge will be so much clear. Okay, so this is the that is a differences or relation you can understand within machine learning and deep learning. Here in machine learning, we actually extract the features, and in deep learning also one of the subset of machine learning. In this case, it will automatically extract. Okay, you have no need to classify, you have no need to give the features. So there is something called neural network. So neural network is a part of deep learning. To work with deep learning, you need the neural network. What is this? So it is a consist of more than 3 layers, which would be inclusive of the input and output, and can be considered as a deep learning algorithm or deep neural network. Okay, so in future, I hope it is very much clear to you all. In future, you should not be get confused between these 4 different terms: artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and neural network. Artificial intelligence is a very broad area. It's a very broad tree. Out of that broad area, one of the subset is machine learning. Machine learning is also so big. Okay, so one of the subset or one of the that is a way we can work with machine learning is deep learning. Okay, neural networks are actually associated with the deep learning. By using neural network, deep learning algorithm will function. So this is the relation between AI, ML, DL, and artificial neural network. Now come to machine learning. Acha, is it clear to you all students? If you have any question, anything, doubts, you can very feel free to ask me. Is it clear to you all, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
So fine, so fine. So now come to our main area, machine learning. Because you see, in our drug discovery, actually we have data. We have huge amount of data. We are actually that is processing the data. We are simplifying the data. We are adding features. We actually playing with the data in computer drug design. Okay, that's why machine learning is actually used. So what are the types of machine learning? I have told in my previous slide that deep learning is a way of working with machine learning. Now, what are the types? What are the what are the various types of machine learning? One is supervised learning. Another is unsupervised learning. And the third one is reinforcement learning. So these are the various 3 different types. So supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. So let me start with the supervised learning. So already you're aware and already in your brain one thing is very much clear that in machine learning we're actually in machine learning our computer is actually learning. Our system is actually learning. है So you may just correlate with you when during your childhood when you as a children what was used to happen, your father used to supervise you how to play cricket, how to stand up, how to go there and here, and your father or anybody from elder or your teacher might be supervising you. Like for example here I am teaching you people, I am giving the lecture, so I am basically supervising you people. So that's why in supervised that is a machine learning, there will be one person called data scientist who will train the computer with some features. So what are the way or how the supervised machine learning will function, and what are the subsets or what are the subfield? So there are 2 different way you can train your machine. One is classification and another is regression. Classification and regression. So, for example, there are, for example, you have your younger brother. Okay, so he is very young. So he is not able to differentiate between girl and boy. He is not able to differentiate between girl and boy, or man or woman, or male or female. So what he will do? He will train him. You see, your mother, she is a female. Your father, he's a male. Okay, you are classifying. Okay, so in this process, you are going to train your younger brother. Okay, like male and female, black and white. day and night. Okay, classification. Can you that is a correlate the thing? Okay, in classification, you are going to classify whatever the data you have. You are going to classify in 2 or 3 categories, and then you are actually that is a training. Okay, similarly in this process also we are actually training our that is a system, computer or our machine about the various classification. For example, image classification. Okay, customer retention in diagnostic. In these 3 areas, we can use machine learning. Kaise? How? Recently, you might have heard that IIT Delhi, they have developed one system or one machine by using which it is very easy to detect. It is very easy to detect SARS-CoV-2 infected people, and that machine was actually I think installed in the Delhi airport. So how it is working? Simple process: classification. The lung, the X-ray data or the X-ray of the normal person, and the X-ray of lung of a that is a infected person, a healthy person, an infected person. So you have classified. Okay, you have trained the system with a lots of data, having one is infected, another is not infected. One is infected, another was not infected. Okay, so the image, whatever you have put it, the X-ray data, whatever you put it, your machine understood very nicely. Okay, if there are lots of cell damage, then there are chances of that is SARS-CoV-2. If there are no any damage, he's a healthy person. Simple process. Okay, so based on the classification, that is you can do image classification in customer retention also. Diagnostic we can use. The regression. Now, what is regression? Regression is very simple. You have X and Y. Okay, so linear regression. You might have created a lots of graphs in your earlier days, and linear curve regression you might have created. So here, what are actually we are doing? We're actually giving the data of something. For example, weather data. Today, humidity is 70%. So today there are chances of rain. Tomorrow, the humidity in the air is 80%. Yes, there will be rain. The day after tomorrow, the humidity is only 20%. There will be no rain. Okay, so if you put the data and if you just make one regression, so after 10 days, the humidity in the air is 90%. So you can easily tell students, can you hear me? There was some network disconnection. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So I think I was telling this part about regression. Okay, if of that is a historical data of last that is 1 year or 10 years or 100 years, that is humidity and rain. Humidity and rain. Okay, so you can make one graph X and Y. In X, you may put it the day. In X, you have put it the humidity level, and Y, you have put it the rain. That is rain was happened or not. So based on that regression, you can that is make a prediction that whether the rain will be happen or not. Okay, so this is basically that is for predicting a lots of things. You can use the regression. Okay, so there are lots of methods are associated with that is a regression, like linear regression, partial least square regression, Gaussian process regression, ensemble methods like random forest, principal component regression, decision trees, the neural network like DNN, CNN, and recursive neural network, SVN. Okay, then your sphere linear regression, general linear model, then elastic net regression. Okay, these are various regression analysis methods. Okay, coming under the regression. Okay, in coming under the supervised learning. Then in classification or classifier method, there are also few methods also available, like support vector machine (SVM), NPL kernel method, Ansible method, that is a gradient boosting, NLP Bayesian classifier, nearest neighborhood. Okay, KNN. Sometimes we actually write it KNN. Okay, nearest neighborhood. Then discriminant analysis. Okay, so these are the way by which you can train your machine. Okay, you have to train. Okay, you as a that is in this process you have to work as a data scientist, and you have to supervise your machine. Okay, you are using this algorithm. You are going to feed the data with this algorithm, and your machine will learn. So this is the classification and this is the regression. I hope it is very much clear to you all. So by using the classification, by using this algorithm, we can classify the image. Customer retention. So if you are selling something, if you are selling some product, so what kind of product your that is a customer is happy or he's not happy? What kind of products is highly got demand, or in the in future if you can also can the predict the probability and other things also. In diagnostic, I already told you. Forecasting, share market forecasting, rain forecasting, then your weather forecasting. You can use prediction. IPL team, कौन सी IPL team जीतेगा? Okay, nowadays people are also using this methodology. Then process optimization and new insights. You can also do these things. Okay, so this is about the supervised learning. It was very simple. In this supervised learning, there will be one trainer, or you have to work as a that is a data scientist. You have to train. Now come to unsupervised learning. So in unsupervised learning, there will be no trainer. Okay, for example, self-learning. Many of you might be not coming to the college, but still you are getting very good marks because you are learning by yourself. You are learning by yourself at your home. You are learning from something called YouTube or other things, but you are learning by yourself. Nobody is actually training you. Nobody actually teaching you. Hai. So you are actually learning from yourself. So that thing actually coming under unsupervised learning. All of you might have remembered the great movie of Amir Khan called Three Idiots. What we have seen in that movie, one kid of 5-year-old kid, he's actually, I think, standard 5 student, he's solving the math of class 11 or 12. So he's learning by himself. He's not taking the help from somebody. So this is called unsupervised learning. We need unsupervised learning in machine learning. Why? Because one is clustering and another thing is dimensionality reduction. Dimension, all of you are aware: one dimension, two dimension, three dimension. And cluster, you can cluster a lots of area in a different parts. You might have listened the word recent time during COVID-19, the cluster, COVID cluster. Okay, they have created some cluster where the all the people who are infected in that cluster, that zone. So if you have the data, you can either if you do not able to go for with, if you do not, if you are not interested to train the machine with features given by you, in that case machine will use few algorithms like machine can use a few algorithm by using k-means or hierarchical clustering or Gaussian mixture, and your that is neural network. Okay, hidden Markov model and GNN. It can cluster by itself. Okay, you have to just give the data. It will cluster according to the features available in the data. Okay, and the features it will be automatically it will identify. Okay, so in our gene, for example, you might have seen that genomics. Okay, so nowadays genomics is so much popular. People are actually getting the genomic data. This is very big data, very big. Your in your mobile, how much that is data capacity will be? It might be 128 GB, or it might be 1 TB. But in terms of genomics, we have huge data. Huge means huge. Recently, you might have seen the few scientists, they have identified, or they have given the picture of black hole. The data was so big, it was actually it was not possible to transfer the data through internet. It was so big. So in those areas, if we have a very big data, what we can do? how we can take those data, how we can learn from this data, and how we can get some features and we can use the data. So we can do clustering by using k-means clustering, hierarchical clustering, or other methods that I have told. Or other, you can also redact the various dimension. It actually help you in weak data visualization or meaningful compression or structure discovery. Okay, so here you are actually not giving any instruction. The machine actually learning by itself based on the available the data. So this is about the unsupervised learning. Now, very interesting. Another part is called reinforcement learning. So in reinforcement learning, this is also slightly related or slightly similar to unsupervised learning, but this is more unsupervised. For example, again, I am take the example of 3 Idiots. In 3 Idiots, there was a kid. Okay, the kid it already having some knowledge. The kid already somebody taught that kid what is 1, 2, 3, 4. Somebody already taught that kid 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., etc., plus, minus, etc., etc. Okay, but in reinforcement learning, you are actually taking on agent. Agents means like one robot. It is knowing nothing. No data is available here. Okay, so you are giving some instruction, you are putting some raw data, you're giving some state, it will select one algorithm, it will go according to that, it will find an environment. If it is correct, then it will get reward and then it will be give you the output. Now, if it is not getting reward, okay, if it is not getting reward, then it will be not move further. Further activity will be not happen, output will be not given. For example, that is like one robot. It is moving towards. It is moving towards, but it is not aware that something is standing in front of him. So it will be get stuck with that particular substance. So at that time, it will get reward. No, I should not do the same mistake again. Basically, here in this reinforcement learning, based on mistakes, your chatbot, your robot, or your agent will be learned. Okay, so where we are actually using this thing, real-time decisions, game artificial intelligence, then learning task, skill acquisition, and robot navigation. What I was actually telling you, robot navigation. Okay, all of you might be playing with chess with your computer machine. है ना? अच्छा, how many of you ever played any game in computer or your mobile? कितने लोग जो है कोई ना कोई गेम खेले हो कभी अपने लैपटॉप में और मोबाइल में? Just raise your hands or you can unmute or also tell the name of the game. Are people playing game in mobile or laptop? I am not getting any response. Are people listening, students? Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Only Bimal is playing game. Okay, fine. So if you ever played game, so you have seen the game actually taking automatically decision by itself. It is give you the alternative move. है ना? So it is actually learning. Before making the game, the entire activity was done earlier, and based on that, it is learned. Okay. So what are the method? Method is Q learning. So this is the basics of our various machine learning that is areas like supervised machine learning, various types, supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement. And within those various types, there are subtypes and there are also various way or various areas where you can use this thing. Okay, so I hope it is very much clear to you all that machine learning we can classify in 3 different types, and upon these 3 different types, in supervised you can classify, in supervised you can also make the regression, in unsupervised you can go with the dimensionality reduction or clustering. In reinforcement learning, there are no any such so much divisions, but still you can use this thing in this area. In supervised learning, you are actually training. Okay, in other area, you are not training. In this part, no training will be given. In this part, it will get some already data, it will identify, but in this part, it will also take some decision. Okay, so now after learning the basics, I will take to you how our these concepts are actually associated with our drug discovery. Okay, so let me start with the solution with AI and ML. Acha, is there any question from your side? Anything you want to ask, or if you have any doubts, you are welcome to ask me. Acha, how many of you are actively listening this lecture? Please raise your hands. Can you hear me, students? Prashant, Bharti.
Vijit sir, I am also listening. Sir Panchal ma'am this side.
Ma'am, very, I'm so happy that.
And very informative.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Okay, so well, I can understand that as a student of MCOM first year, it might be slightly difficult for you today to learn these things. But trust me, for example, when you have learned about the cycling or driving for the first time, it was also difficult, right? So don't worry. I think in my first lecture, you are so much seriously you have learned, because many of the things what I have discussed, you are already aware. And these things you are not aware. That's why it is slightly that is difficult for you people. So don't worry, I will make it more simple in my upcoming slide, that how you can use that is machine learning or artificial intelligence to solve our present day problem. So first thing is that machine learning algorithm have been used to develop various models to predicting chemical, biological, and physical characteristics of the compound in the drug discovery. Solubility prediction. If you perform the solubility in your lab, how much time it will take? You will take certain amount of your particular that sample. You will take water, ethanol, methanol. You will just put everything on that. You will just stir. Then you will see the that is a precipitation, and you will do some other work like HPLC or UV or whatever you are interested. Based on that, the graph you are going to get that particular that microgram per ml was dissolved. So how much time it is taking? It is very difficult. Not difficult. It is taking so much time. But in machine learning, you can do that thing with a second. You have to just input your structure on that particular model. That model will automatically give you the results. How? This is basically working based on the principle of QSR, quality structural activity relationship, or quality structural property relationship. Okay, Hans was the scientist in 1969. He has developed his famous equation. Based on that equation, all the various models are actually developed. So, by using ML algorithm, you can get the prediction of the chemical, biological, physical characteristics of a compound in drug discovery in a very short period of time. You have no need to do solubility. You have no need to do that is log P studies. Log P means partition coefficient. All of you might have done partition coefficient. You have taken oil, octanol, and other things. Oil and water and octanol you have taken. You have put drugs. You have mixed that thing, and then you have checked its absorbance, etc., etc., etc. So where it was taking so much time, here you will be getting the entire log P within a seconds, because already models are actually developed based on the experimental data. Okay, then it can be used to find new use of drugs, predicting drug protein interaction, discover drug efficacy, and ensure safety of biomarker, and optimize the bioactivity of the molecules, genetic data analysis, and also in the personalized medicine. Then also it may guide, speed up, and provide a better understanding of the diseases and associated biological phenomena, and help planning preclinical wet lab experiment and in future clinical trials too. I have told you in my previous slides that many of the drugs actually will work so fine in your in silico, in vitro, and various in vivo models. But when it will go to your that is a clinical trial, it will not able to pass. Okay, so today, based on the all failed data, all the failed experiment, they have made some correlation. Why the drugs are actually get failed? They have given the data to the unsupervised machine learning system. So it has identified the pattern why the drugs are getting failed. Okay, so that pattern, based on that pattern, one models are actually developed. So you can also develop some model. So when you will put your drug molecule there, it will automatically tell you whether in clinical trial it will pass or not. Okay, so such things are happening. That's why nowadays the top pharma company, they are so much aggressively, they are so much seriously working with AI and ML. Okay, so now I think you are getting interested because now I'm telling the most interesting part. You see, when you will learn something, you have to keep your patience. You have to keep your patience, and you have to that is work hard. Okay, so when I was telling the difficult things in various classification, many of you might be not raising your hands, and some of you might have not that is getting so much interest because it was so much not related to our pharmacy field, and it was slightly related to computer science, and it was slightly so difficult what usually you always learn. You know? So these are the various way where in first area we can predict our biological and chemical, biological, and that is physical characteristics of the compound. In other side, we can also use the that is we can make the various prediction, drug-drug interaction, discover efficiency, and your other biomarker optimized bioactivity, etc., genetic data. And other side, in third part, we can also predict that whether our in future clinical trial whether our drug will pass or it will get failed. Okay. So how and what are the data or what are the things you are actually required? So at morning, I have told you there are various stages are associated with our drug discovery. First is target identification and target validation. Okay, so in successful ML machine learning deployment to successfully deploy machine learning algorithm, you need this kind of characteristics data. Current data are highly heterogeneous, so need the standardized high-dimensional target, disease, drug associated data set. See, target, disease, drug association data set. You have to make entire data. Target, for example, target is ACE2 receptor. Disease, like disease is SARS-CoV-2. Drugs, the drug which are actually inhibiting, blocking your ACE2 receptor. Okay, so whatever the drugs are actually blocking ACE2 receptor, you have to write in such a manner. Then you have to you have to make a long data set. Then you have to that is go for the further studies. Comprehensive omic data from the disease and normal states, then high confidence association from literature, and metadata from successful and failed clinical trial. What I was actually telling to you in my previous slides. Metadata for successful and failed clinical trial. So based on this, you can very easily identify that whether your target on which you are interested, whether it will be feasible in future or not, whether if you work with that target, it will give you the productive results or not. Okay, so this is the first step. Second step, compound screening and lead discovery. In that area, you need large amount of training data, model for your compound reaction space and rules, and gold standard ADME data, and numerous protein structure. Because ultimately your drug will be going to bind with the protein, right? So that's why you have to give such kind of data. Okay. After that, during preclinical trial also, you need the biomarker reproducibility models based on gene expression data, dimension reduction of single cell data for cell type and biomarker identification, and including proteomics and transcriptomic data of high quality and quantity. So you see, during research, many people are doing their PhD. So after PhD, people actually, or PhD or M.Pharma, including M.Pharma project also. So people are doing particular one particular that is an area. Like somebody is working on biomarker, or somebody is working from particular one drug or one disease. So ultimately, here should be only one data. So after the working of the project, so he or she will be so happy that I have completed my project. This is the outcome. So he or she will be so much happy that in future my drug can be used for cancer or other diseases. But whatever the entire people are doing research, if you get the entire data, then you may just do some analysis. Then you'll be able to understand the gray areas. Mane, big data you are taking, you are going to analyze. So for this kind of analysis, you need pharmacy knowledge. The data scientists who are working all over the world, they cannot perform this thing. No, you may note down my this line. Okay, pharma people are so much required. Okay, when data science and artificial intelligence, machine learning was actually rising, that time it was a big question that whether we should learn these things or not. Okay, after some time, it was realized by various pharma company that yes, this is not possible without pharma people. If you are very good in writing in coding, you're very good that is a C, Python, Java, and your that is a model building, but you are not good in pharmacy. You are not aware what is log P. You are not aware about what is molecular weight. How can calculate your normality, molarity. So you will not able to develop this model. So that's why, my dear students, if you learn this thing in future, you can also become a data scientist in pharma field, and whatever the companies name I have shown you in my that is a morning session. I've told you, no, you can work with those companies. So they will hire you. Okay. Then after that, in clinical development, you need the data of pathology, that is a well curated expert annotation for broad use cases like cancer versus normal cell. Then gold standard data set to improve interpretability and transparency of the models, and sample size, high number of the image per clinical trial. Okay, because in clinical trial you will see there is a very variation of the people. लोग जो है बहुत different होंगे वहां पे. Some people, some of them might be male, some female, some young, some that is old, some might be from this ethnicity, that ethnicity. Food habit will be different. So you have a very variation of the data. You can cluster those data, whatever I've told you in that that is unsupervised learning clustering. So based on that, you can analyze. And based on this analysis, if you make one model and if you use that model for predicting the new drug, you will be able to understand that new drug will be work or not. Okay. So this is how it is working. Here is another very interesting that is a flow chart that I have got. So in preclinical time, when you will do various cell-based studies or cell-based analysis, you are doing this molecular profiling, imaging, analysis, etc., etc. And in this case, you are doing these disease category responses. So based on this data, you can use machine learning algorithm like SBM, support vector machine, ENN, RF, etc., etc., to build drug sensitivity predictive models and let's identify biomarker. Okay, in this case, you can take the clinical trial data, whatever I was telling you, patient certification, MOA, disease identification, and then apply the model to patients and globally normalize the internal national data. And later on, you will be getting ultimately drug sensitive predict model and corresponding biomarker validated by independent testing data sets and preclinical or early stage clinical trial. माने देखो, after doing entire this thing, what you are ultimately getting? You are getting one model. That model will help you in future. In future, you might be working with paracetamol, you might be working with benzene, you might be working with some other thing like hydroxychloroquine. So that thing will hydroxychloroquine, you are working, whatever you chemical, that chemical will work rightly during clinical trial or this preclinical trial or not. You can predict based on this model. You have to just put drug molecule in that model. That model will give you the prediction. Yes, how much it will be efficient. If you want the result in binary form, that good or bad or working or active or inactive, you can use the supervised learning, that is classification. If you want to get the data in terms of number, you can also use the supervised learning, that is called regression. Okay. So this is the about how you can use machine learning in preclinical and clinical trial. And here in this picture, I have summarized the entire thing. You can take one the screenshot. You can able to if you want to recall everything. So this is the various clustering method in under unsupervised learning. This is under supervised learning various clustering method, clustering and regression method. So how you can use regression? You can use regression in all those various area. You can use the regression, whatever I was telling you, na, the weather prediction, etc., etc. You have the data of historical data. Based on that, you are making one model. You are just extrapolating. Okay, so based on regression, you can predict this thing, like cancer-related gene from RNA screen, disease and target trackability from multidimensional data, target for Huntington disease, drug sensitivity prediction, then chemical gene association. Okay, you can also that is get a quantitative structure activity relationship, QSAR, gene expression, then biomarker of clinical and endpoint from continuous variable data, polygenic risk score for complex states, image-based diagnosis. Already I've told you, image-based diagnosis that if you have the data of at least 1,000 people, out of 1,000, some people are suffering from COVID, some people are suffering not from COVID, they're fit, healthy. So if you take the X-ray of both the people, if you get the data and if you just feed it, you can make your model. So based on that model, in future, any unknown person may come to just check, you can use that model. You can just ask that give your X-ray. You can feed here, that model will tell you he has COVID or not. He's suffering from COVID or not. Okay, so accelerated MRI data acquisition and phenotyping of cellular images. Okay, these are various methods. You can also use in ADME properties of drug target planning, chemical synthesis, molecular features of predicting cancer drug response, and yes, very interesting, ligand-based virtual screening for what we are actually that is discussing. Okay, so you see, in my morning lecture, I told you that lots of molecules fail to pass the preclinical studies. Why? This might be showing very good activity in silico. Okay, in our college also, actually, all of you might be aware that we have a research team under the leadership of our Honorable Dean Ma'am, Dr. Rupa Majumdar Ma'am. So, in our team, we have a lots of teachers and students. So we are working with some in silico work. Okay, we are doing our work very honestly, but we don't know when we will go for the lab work, that is in vitro work, whether our molecule will work or not. Okay, so that's why we are actually employing a lots of different that is studies. We are not only doing the only docking, molecular docking. Earlier days, many of the drug molecule got failed because they are focused on only molecular docking. That's why we are not only employing molecular docking, we are also employing other things like ADME, toxicity, embryo simulation, your QSAR, various models. We are also employing other things. Okay, so these things you can use in regression, these kinds of activities. Okay, and in classification, in classifier method, in your the supervised learning classifier, that is target, disease, and drug association from the literature, tissue specific biomarker from gene expression signature. Okay, now few of the areas which are actually associated with the both the that is a classifier and your the supervised learning. This is like compound bioactivity and assay readout from virtual drug screen and novel therapeutic target from target gene association. Okay, these things are actually you can use both the these areas, both the classification and that is a regression method. Okay, in clustering, the where you can use the clustering, you can use the clustering in feature reduction in the single cell data to identify cell types. You have a very different kinds of cell types. How can you that is reduce single cell data to identify the cell types? So you can also use in cell types and biomarker from single cell RNA data, deep feature selection for biomarker, and low dose CT scan, that is CT image analysis. Okay, so this is the broad entire area how your supervised and unsupervised machine learning actually used in our pharmaceutical world. Okay, so I have summarized everything. Actually, I have it is not summarized by me. It is actually I have got this is one of the recent publication in the Nature. I think I have added. No, I have not added in one publication in the Nature. Okay. What next? Next, I will tell you in these different areas. At morning, I have told you, we can use computer in target identification, protein structure prediction, protein function prediction, protein structure prediction, then QSR-based machine learning, pharmacophore mapping, then virtual screening, in silico ADME toxicity prediction, MD simulation, data analysis. In morning, I have told you, you can use all those things which are associated with hit to leads, identification of hit to leads and lead optimization. Okay, so now I will tell you a few of the success stories or few of the that is areas where AI or ML has shown very nice impact. So for target identification, so here is one that is a story or one of the that is a publication where they have mentioned that they have identified a few target among known drug by deep learning from heterogeneous network. Okay, deep learning. I already told you in my previous that is a session that what is deep learning. You are using artificial neural network. You are giving the data, and there will be different layers and hidden layers, and more than 3 million layers will be there of neural network, and it will split the data into various categories, and later on you will find some pattern. Okay, so in target identification, we can use our AI and ML. Then the next thing, protein function prediction. So in protein function prediction, DEE-PRED, one of the model was developed. I think few people are also from India. I'm not sure. Whatever. So that model can be used, automated protein function prediction with multitask feed forward deep neural network. Then protein structure prediction, very, very interesting. Sorry, protein structure prediction. Homology modeling. You might be using homology modeling if you do not have the 3D structure of the protein. Or you might be using some other methods like ab initio or threading method. So at that time, this is true. By using homology and ab initio or threading method, you will not get the 100% the correction with Ramachandran plot. Okay, there might be some that is a error, or there might be some that is a it will not be completely mimic your entire that is a biological that is a 3D structure. है So that's why there is one organization called DeepMind. DeepMind is actually one of the that is actually Google. They have one project called so AlphaFold actually solved a grand challenge problem in our biology. It was 50 years old grand challenge problem. How can you predict the 3D structure of a protein? Okay, from the sequence. So AlphaFold was successful last year in the month of December. It was in news. You can predict the 3D structure of the protein by using machine learning. Then the most essential or most interesting QSR or pharmacophore mapping. See, for QSR already people are using. So how we are actually working in this area? We are actually dividing in various parts. We should have a training set. We should have the IC50 value in the nanomolar form. You can see you have lots of structure, chemical structure. You are and with the IC50 value. So you have to develop some model. Random forest, or you can deep network. Okay, so when you will that is you will work with the in-house database or any of the purchase database. You have this number of your molecule. So you will keep some for test and some for the training. And then based on the analysis after the learning, it will generate one model. Then whatever model will be generated, that model can be used to predict the IC50 value of your unknown compound. You are working with a new compound, for example, you're working with a new compound. You're just trying to know whether your compound will show IC50 value, good IC50 value with a particular target or with a particular disease or not. So how will you do? You will take the entire data of particular that disease or that target and with the IC50 value, and then you train your AI system. You will train based on either random forest or your deep learning network methodology, and then your model will generate, and then that model will be predict. Okay. What next? Oh, next is okay. I am actually skipping the virtual screen by molecular docking because right now there are no any alternative of molecular docking in also AIML. Okay, I have not found as of now. If anybody is working in all over the world, then it will be very great. I will be happy to know. If you are also aware, then you will also tell that whatever the new advancement in molecular docking, if anybody has used AIML model in molecular docking, so it will be also great because for in molecular docking, if we go for 1,000 run, it will take near about 4 to 5 hours for only one docking calculation. Okay, so in this process, you can also in this process, you can also whether you can use or not. As of now, there are no any data of molecular docking. But yes, in silico for toxicity prediction, these things are actually used. In that is in silico toxicity prediction, that is toxicity ADM prediction, machine learning is widely used. This is very simple. This is coming under QSPR, quality structure property relationship, and QSTR, quality structure relationship. They are also using that Hans equation, okay, where Hans actually told the biological activity will be the function of physicochemical property of the drug. Okay, so in this area, you can see Beer's in silico ADME platform. This is actually all widely used nowadays. A journey of machine learning over last 20 decades. Okay, so I told you now that Beria first article was published in machine learning in 1991. And after that, people actually have learned nowadays. You are observing the newer articles. So we are actually that scientist. He has developed almost 20 decades ago. Developed. So this is how you can use machine learning. I have few that is a exciting story or very interesting stories for you people. So one of the research group called Benevolent AI, one of the organization, one of the pharma, not pharma company, AI based company, they have actually used with repurposed drugs. They have taken all the FDA approved drug, and they have also identified one drug molecule called bericitinib. Okay, they actually identified this molecule baricitinib by using your machine learning based that is studies, and they also got the FDA emergency approval for COVID-19. Can you imagine? So Benevolent Y is the one of the organization, and here is their research paper. Okay, you can read in your free time how they can take one screenshot if you are interested. So they also have worked in this field. Then I have another very interesting story from in silico medicine. This is another that is a AI based company. This is their research paper. They have actually screened whole entire that is a big data they have actually used. We have they also mentioned the SDF format what is available in the website. They actually not use the data that is a that is a FDA approved drug. Yeah.
Sir,
Asking.
sir, please make college student
हाँ
as
बोल बोल
attendee. Sir, anyone college student as old time.
अच्छा अरे just a second, let me make some changes. Okay, I have made some changes. So I think now it will be not possible for any suspicious people. Okay, can you see? Have you faced any changes? You may check.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
अभी भी कोई प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है या? I think right now only I can remove anybody. है ना? Is it okay, students?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Chalo.
sir.
Okay, so these are the two that is companies or two organizations. They are actually working in this field. So right now, if I tell you there are 230 startup using artificial intelligence in the drug discovery. Okay, you know about the one startup is also I think from Delhi. Okay, I don't know. I also got in the news, and it was actually updated on Feb 2021. So more than total 230 startups are actually using AI in drug discovery. But you may mark my word, you can note it down. Without the knowledge of pharmacy, nobody can successful with AI. You need the knowledge of pharmacy. I might be your teacher, I might be teaching you, but honestly, trust me, I also don't know everything. बहुत सारी चीजें हैं. I am very good in CAD and other things, but I don't know everything. I have lots of areas where I cannot perform very well. Okay, so in future, if you want to that is start your career, if you want to start your own company, so you have to learn pharmacy very well. You have to learn about the medicinal chemistry, pharmacology, then your also this very interesting subject called that is clinical research. Okay, how in your including in your biochemistry. Okay, biochemistry, medicinal chemistry, pharmacology, clinical research, including pharmacobusiness. These fields will be help you to build up your the concept. And yes, pharmaceutics. Without the knowledge of pharmaceutics, you will not able to stand, because there is one subject in pharmaceutics called biopharmaceutics. Now, many of the student, teacher, many people are saying that biopharmaceutics is also like ecology. No, biopharmaceutics is the actual subject that actually help you to pass your drug molecule during preclinical in vitro in vivo studies, because bioavailability, the calculation of bioavailability and your area under the curve, etc., etc. Here you have to work without doing experimental work, without doing experimental studies. You will never able to get successful. So that's why I'm not actually criticizing those people who have started their startup. I am just trying to tell you people that do not jump with with a plan that I will also start a new startup and I will also that is discover new drug molecule like what Benevolent AI did and what In Silico Medicine did. Okay, you have to learn pharmacy first, then you may go. So this is about your machine learning and how you can use machine learning to solve our grand challenge problems. So is there any question, my dear students? Otherwise, I will go to the next segment. Here I have a lots of videos. You will like these things. So if you have any questions from this fourth part of my session, all of you are welcome to ask questions. Are you are you understanding what I am teaching, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Great. So, Asa, how many of you are actually listening this lecture? Just raise your hands. Can you just raise your hands if you are getting? Nobody is rising. Acha, I think I have made some changes. Is it the result, students? Bimal, can you raise your hands?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Hand raised, sir. Hand raised.
Okay. I have seen. Okay. So let me take to you the next part and last part of my today's discussion. I have a very interesting few videos where you can see how can you use the virtual reality. Uh, so virtual reality is nowadays becoming so popular. Okay, you'll be able to get these kinds of already you have seen the virtual reality or VR movies, है ना? You might have seen. So we are also using that concept in our drug discovery. How and why? So virtual reality, it will actually help innovator better visualization complex 3D structure with ligand in any substrate that causes changes in the organism physiology or psychology when consumed. Okay, we can visualize it in a very good manner. Right now, when we are working with CAD, we are actually visualizing everything in our computer. In VR, virtual reality, we will be visualizing everything including in front of our hand. Okay, then we can get into proteins machinery and more efficiently it will alter the proteins function to slow or stop a disease process. And then this will improve the molecular makeup of a drug by smoothing communication between the scientist. See, right now this is pandemic is going on. All the scientists are at their home, but because of the VR, virtual reality, they can communicate with each other. They can study together in a particular in from their home. Okay, the entire protein structure will come to in front of in front of them. I will show you in my previous next slides. And also seeing the same things and Yeah. And seeing the same thing at the same time helps them more rapidly settle on the best ideas for tweaking a drugs, chemical, and makeup. Okay, so let me go to take to you with some videos, whatever I have told. So here, before taking show you some video, so I want to introduce one of the pioneer in this field. His name is Thomas Ferrin. He was from UCSF at California. His team is actually working in particular this field since last many of years. His team builds computational tools to enable scientists to visualize and analyze biological molecules. You have a protein, you have to visualize, no? So, for example, Chimera, I am using Chimera since last almost 10 years. So in 2002, they have developed Chimera. You can see, you can visualize, you can work, okay, with the proteins. In 2015, they have developed Chimera X, where you can use the VR. You can see that is in his hand. He has two different accessories, and here is one accessories in his with his eyes, and he can able to visualize this thing. Okay, you can touch it, you can change it, and you can do everything. So let me take to you in one of the video of Novartis in Novartis lab how they are actually using.
More. And now you have the structure in your hand, so you can move it around.
Yeah, I'm right on the membrane, you know.
Can you hear the video? Sound is coming, students.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Virtual reality allows people to kind of go behind the computer screen, to go into the world where
She's the
the
investigator.
small molecules or proteins are being visualized and to really interact with them. It allows chemists to both identify potential drug molecules and then also optimize them more efficiently.
So it's extremely important to be able to visualize these protein structures because they are so complex that understanding of patterns of how these molecules are spatially oriented with each other and how they interact tremendously helps with rational design of drugs.
But he's
I
observing.
like that it really provides a different perspective on the reality that we're used to looking at. You can touch them, you can move them, you can walk in and outside of them.
Okay, I have another very interesting video from Nanum. So you can see here how he is working with his biomolecule, that is protein, to target. Okay. So in future you will also see such things in our college. Our director sir might be bringing such kind of VR machines, and we might be also performing some lab experiments with this VR as a technology. You will be able to see the protein in detail. You can see this is the DNA, how it is actually working, changing, it's adding something, you can delete something. You can everything you can do. You can enter within the protein. You can see. To find the active site, the active site he is entering. He is basically trying to identify such a drug molecule which will fit very nicely here. You see, he has developed based on VR. This is called DNIVO. See, one assistant is here. It is actually telling that see what is the distance, hydrogen bond distance. Okay, you can also take some supervisor with you who will stand here. You can see they are talking. You can also take one robot or other things. But generally in this video, whatever you are seeing, he and his supervisor. For example, right now in lockdown, all the scientists are at their home. They can also work together in this way. You can see this person is doing this activity, and another person is actually also with him. In the left, you can see. So this is the working at Nanome, and I think I also have added recently. Nanome actually done a very great work in SARS-CoV-2 in coronavirus. Okay.
We
And you
have
can see three
overlaid
scientists
on top of each
at
other
their-
the SARS-CoV-1 main protease and the SARS-CoV-2 main protease. So they're not direct related to each other, but they're somewhat similar. So they're pretty much all the same protein structure here, and the only differences are these pink areas where it shows off the mutational differences between the two coronaviruses proteases. So in the blue teal color here, I believe we have the SARS-CoV-2 main protease, and in the white we have the SARS-CoV-1 main protease.
Right.
Yeah, and so when we look at it though, like this binding pocket where the drug actually sits and interacts here in the green, this is pretty much unchanged between both versions. Yeah, there's this little pink area that's different across the two variants, but for the most part, this entire pocket is highly conserved, which is a good indicator. That means that if this drug is
You can
something
take
that
drugs in your
would
hand
work on the
and fit it.
SARS-CoV-2 main protease, then it could also work for future coronaviruses as well, given how highly this binding pocket is conserved. By the time it gets
It's a
over here,
pocket
this part's gone. So that's why we see
of
over
main
here,
protease.
there's only the oxygen and there's
Yep.
no phosphate group. So
Right.
we'll use our MedChem tool. Now let's go ahead and delete 1, 2, 3, 4. Boom.
Perfect.
Cool. So yeah, so this drug would pretty much come and sit right in there where you see it kind of going in. But then the interesting thing that happens is right here, this double bond actually becomes a single bond when it goes through this covalent process here. So when it goes into the binding pocket, this carbon as part of the drug forms a covalent bond with the sulfur that's part of this cysteine 145 residue.
Yeah, and this is the covalent reversible bond that really sticks this ligand in here in the protease. This ligand picks up a lot of really nice hydrogen bonds that we can see in Nanome, so it fits in really well into this active site.
Do you want to talk a little bit about all these
So,
nice
is it so
hydrogen
interesting,
bonds that we're
students?
seeing happening between
Are you
our
want to
ligand
work
and
like
our
this in
protein?
future?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Right. I mean, you can see a number of them.
Yes.
I think even starting over
Great.
here with this indole cap here that makes this hydrogen bond to
See,
this
everything.
backbone
Many of the
carbonyl
things you might be not
of
understanding. In that
glutamic acid
protein is made up of various
166, I
amino
believe.
acids. You can see
And
GLU,
then if you follow
and
along,
then
you
in
can
other
see the
side
AMID
histidine.
here
Okay, these are
is
various amino
also
acids.
picking up
How
a
drug is
hydrogen
actually
bond to a
interacting with the amino acids
backbone
by using various
NH
bonds.
here
Okay, they're actually discussing
and
that thing.
to a
So
back
I was
to
not
a
interested to
carbonyl
interrupt you.
of
So you may
glutamine
listen what they are
189
discussing.
here. So just a lot of nice interactions through here that we can see in Nanome.
Yeah, and you could probably also see this little bit of variation. So when we did a RMSD calculation to overlay the two different protein structures, each one of them had this ligand docked in there. So you can see the orientation is slightly different, but I don't really think that makes much of a difference. Yeah, it's pretty much forming all the same hydrogen bonds, and it's definitely forming that same covalent bond.
Yeah, I mean these two proteins, these two proteases are basically identical,
Okay,
as you
so
said
I will
before
not
here in the
waste
active
more
site. And it's
time.
pretty amazing
So
in the crystal structures that the ligand
this is
really
how
is right on
in
top of
future
itself. As
our
you were saying, you can
scientists
barely
and
see any differences.
the
It's really
be
remarkable.
working. Okay, so all of the people are
Yeah,
actually
and
in
then
their
of course
home,
we have
they
here
actually
the
connected to internet,
covalent
and they
bond
have
there
a
happening
project
with the
and
cysteine
under nano,
145,
they are
which is part of the
got
catalytic diet there.
protein.
So it's
Okay,
holding the
so this is the way you can learn, you can work with your this thing called virtual reality. So what are the books or what are the things you should learn to understand machine learning and your AI ML models? So these are various books you can learn, you can purchase, you can read if you are interested to make some model and make some algorithm so that you can work with machine learning. Okay, these are some books. Python is the main thing. Python, you should learn Python. Without Python, you will not able to work with the machine learning based software. Okay, I will also give some demo, just a second. And software, what are the softwares? These are various softwares: RTKit, Nime, Jupyter Notebook, and Weka. Okay, I was planning to give you a whole demo, so it will not possible. Only I have 34 is right now. I will give some few minutes. So I will just try to give you the basic interface, how these things are working. I'll just try to give you a basic demo. These are various softwares which are actually widely used nowadays. I also have not mentioned about the TensorFlow and your PyTorch, which are also used in machine learning. RDK9, Jupyter Notebook, which is under Python, and Weka you can use. So at last, I want to acknowledge Dr. Girinath Pillai, who is my teacher from whom I am learning lots of things, and because of him, I am actually able to learn the competitive drug design. There are lots of things I have learned from him. Recently, during the drug discovery talk, I think all of you have already have listened to him. He is the director of Zest Innovation, visiting scientist at Nairobi Research India, and he was also mentor at Atal Innovation Mission for Niti Aayog, and he is also that is developing lots of your models, and you also have a patent in this field, and he is also one of the leading research scientists in competitive drug design. So I am always thankful to him for his always support, help, and guiding me in my learning in drug discovery. I also want to show my deepest respect, my acknowledgement to our honorable director, sir, Professor Dr. Abhijit Majumdar, sir, to whom all of you are know him very nicely. So he is actually the person who actually told me that Abhijit, you have a talk in the workshop of drug discovery. So I'm thankful to him. I'm deeply thankful to also our honorable Dean Ma'am, Dr. Rupa Majumdar Ma'am, who is the Dean of our R&D and HOD of our pharmaceutics. Actually, we have a research team. I think Shravanjali ma'am joined a few minutes back. Me, Dr. Shravanjali ma'am, then Dr. Rakhi ma'am, then Neha ma'am, and other people are actually working under the leadership of Dr. Rupa ma'am. So our research team is right now focusing in cancer and cancer-related diseases. We are right now, before the pandemic, we are working on the in silico, and slowly our lab is also developing. So in future, you will able to see lots of that is achievement coming from the MEMS that is a lab. So as you are in first year, I'm from first year, so you should be in touch with our other teachers like Rakhi ma'am, Shabanjali ma'am, and Neha ma'am. Okay, including our Dean ma'am, so that you can get in that part to learn the new things. Okay, every Saturday, ma'am actually that is encourage us for a team meeting in research. So these things are actually giving me the encouragement to learning. And I am really thankful to ma'am and our entire team, which is consisting Rakhi ma'am, Shabanjali ma'am, Neha ma'am, our few students. Okay, and I also want to acknowledge to my MPharm guide, Dr. Hema Majumdar, who is the Dean of that is Faculty of Pharmacy Science at PDM University, and Dr. Biplav Dev, who is my mentor during my BPharm time at RIPSET, from where I have done my BPharm, and Dr. Shikha Srivastava ma'am, who is the Assistant Professor at BCS University of Delhi. We have a few projects in plant-based or natural product-based drug discovery with the collaboration of between me and Dr. Shivaswasthan. So with this acknowledgement, I want to come at the conclusion. So thank you all of you. Thank you, my dear students, for listening me for long period of time. I have a Facebook page. Its name is Abhijit sir. I will also share this slide in video format. So if you are interested to that is watch this entire PPT, so you are suggested to visit to my page. And meanwhile, if you have any question or anything you want to discuss, you are welcome to ask.
Thank you, Abhijit sir. Very nice and informative session.
Thank you, ma'am. I thought you already left because many people actually left.
No, I was from the starting. Until end, I have heard each and everything.
Wow, get ma'am.
Because I'm also a student only now, because I'm also studying and interested in study this CAD.
Ma'am, we all are actually student. Dr. Abdul Kalam, na, ma'am, he said that everybody is a student and we have to learn
Yes.
every day. So,
Yes, I'm also now learning only.
yes,
Okay, this is just, I'm just a beginner in this drug using computer-aided drug delivery system.
yes, ma'am.
So I hope that our association will be giving a very fruitful results.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, also.